Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons. Sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club. Kenworth Trucks Australia and Pace Farm Eggs. G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome to the show. Today, a little bit of a slight mix, classic car and some classic bikes. Get ready for Mick's Bike Cave in this week's Classic Restos on the road. (1978). It was a busy year for GMH. We saw the release of the VB Commodore, the TD Gemini, the UC Tirana, and of course this shape right here that many of us were accustomed to, the Kingswood. But by this stage it was called the HZ, and if you had worked enough overtime you may have scored yourself a Premier. The HZ was launched in October of 1977, with just over 154,000 models in total being built. But before we see more on today's show, here's a little about Mick. A country drive, a couple of 100 k's west of Sydney, is this bloke. Meet Mick. A down-to-earth type of guy, comfortably residing on 9 beautiful acres that used to be a chook farm back in the 1930s, and an orchard as well. Isn't it wonderful that I keep finding people like Mick? This is what Classic Restos is all about. Mechanical appreciation, passion, and a craving for historic stories, typifying a great collection. And it's not all about quantity, it's more about substance, and that is what this episode is all about. Today in the Fletchy office we will feature an original Holden, then get ready for the bikes. It's time now to get started.
Sitting here next to the car, I've had the car for about 1.5 years now. The story with this car was I went looking for a particular year model, a particular colour interior, exterior, and a particular engine. I put a post up on Facebook trying to find this particular car. I ended up finding one in the Sunshine Coast. About 100 photos and videos later, I ended up taking a bit of a drive up there and I ended up buying it. The reason I like it is because it is completely original. It's never been changed or modified from brand new. I have the owner's manual, instruction manuals, I have all the paperwork that come when it was sold brand new from Blacktown. I know the name of the guy that bought it, I know what his company was, and that was his company car. A few little things that I do like about it is the car was fitted from the dealership with a factory fitted pinstripe, which is still there, and it was also sold with a set of M71 wire wheels, which I still do have. The wheels on it at the moment are just a 15-inch GDS wheels, a 14-inch. They just look a little bit better and they're a lot easier to clean than a wire wheel. The engine and driveline in this is a 4.2 253 Holden, and it's a Trimatic gearbox. The reason I like this car is because my dad bought one brand new identical, and after seeing photos of it when I was only a little kid, that was Dad's car that he bought brand new. His brother bought one which was a 5-litre, identical cars, same year, model, colour, everything, and I just set out to buy what my dad bought in 1978. The way this drives, believe it or not, is absolutely beautiful. It is soft, it's comfortable, it's quiet. I haven't modified it, I haven't made it lower, I haven't done anything like that. I've just kept it exactly how Holden made it in 1978, and it is absolutely perfect. I have a brand new car out there and this thing still drives better. So Fletch was just telling me off air that these were right at the end of their run, 78, 79, just before the introduction of the WB. They drove fantastic then, so there's no reason why they shouldn't drive bloody great now. At my age, 38, I'm driving a 47-year-old Holden. If I could tell you guys anything, if you are interested in anything like a classic car or something like this, I strongly recommend that you do it, because driving one of these is not like anything else that you could ever drive. They really are smooth, they're quiet, they're comfortable, and you can just sit in them all day long. So look at this car here, late 70s, everything was built in Australia by Aussies, and it is just a testament that this car is still, as it is, from when it rolled out of the factory floor, minus a bit of wear, it's still going. You find me a car that's built today that's going to be going in 47 years' time. Ford, Holden and Chrysler. They were all built here, designed here, and they were really on top of their game. They knew what they were doing, and they built fantastic motoring cars that many, many Australians owned and still own it today. This is a prime example. So what this car means to me is its history. I love it. It's original. It's been kept for so long as it is, and I just see it as my job to continue that and keep that car for as long as I can, preserve the history and pass it on to someone else who will hopefully do exactly the same thing.
I've been a motoring enthusiast all my life. My Coupe 4 is rare and very special. A real performance car with all-wheel drive grip. I'm not a car club bloke and I don't work on it myself, but I do have a great mechanic. One day, I might even get that HQ. When it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannons.
Shannons shares your passion. Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
In 2025, why not consider a tour of Detroit, Michigan, USA with Fletch? Detroit, it's the Motown City, the automotive epicenter. Each day is wow, wow, and more wow. Imagine experiencing where automotive history on a grand scale began. Stay in fine accommodation, taking in some of the best museums and private car collections on the planet. Book your exclusive 2025 Detroit tour with Fletch. Enquiries at DetroitClassicTours.com. And if you own a classic bike or two, just like this collection here, make sure they're insured with Shannons. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And keep in mind too that the Shannons Club is Australia's largest automotive online hub. For more information, visit shannons.com.au.
The bike we're sitting next to now is a 1958 BSA Shooting Star. It's a 500cc parallel twin. The story with this bike is my father restored it approximately 25 years ago. He sold it to a member of our classic enthusiast motorcycle club. My younger brother, who I think may have only been 17 at the time, loved the bike. His favourite colour was green and hated Dad for ever selling it. We got to see the bike as he rode the bike to many rides, weekends away, rallies, all that stuff. Later on, he ended up passing away, and my brother in turn was able to buy the bike back. It sits here and I ride it quite regularly. Riding a bike like this, you sit upright, you're extremely comfortable. It does actually, they are a very easy bike to ride. You don't, they just feel good, they go well, and they're just very, very comfortable. When my dad built the bike, 25 odd years ago, the bike is as it sits now. It hasn't been painted or touched up. There has been a bit of, obviously, like a maintenance work done over those years, but the bike now basically sits as my dad did it. So this one's a BSA 1958 Spitfire Scrambler. The first Spitfire Scrambler was in 1957, and they were made to race across America in the deserts. The bikes were not sold with lights or a tail light, and they basically had a set of like knobby tyres, and that's what they were used for. It's got a set of straight through pipes on it, so it's extremely loud. Being a 650 parallel twin with a Spitfire engine in it, it is a little bit more souped up as opposed to just a standard 650 twin. So they are a lot of fun to ride. It goes well, it sounds phenomenal, and it's just a great all-round bike. The bike is a 650cc parallel twin. It's got a 4-speed box. The box is upside down compared to most modern day bikes, where first gear is up and then second, third and fourth is down. So that catches out people. If you've been riding a Honda for the day and you jump on that, sometimes you forget which one's which. My dad built the bike probably about 10 years ago. He started with a frame, then found a motor to suit, and then built the rest up over quite a few years. He started it and instantly hated it because it was too noisy and he wasn't into that. So the bike sat for quite a few years until I decided to take it. I've done a few rallies, I've done a week down in Melbourne, and the bike is an absolute hoot to ride. It really does go well and it sounds like a Learjet. The bike, when it was first built, was designed basically to race, off-road. It was given better cams, it was given a high compression head. It was the souped up bike that everybody wanted. They were super fast, super noisy, knobby tyres on it. It was a lot of fun. I love the bike because of its look. The upswept pipes on it is just something that modern day bikes don't really have. I think it's probably one of the coolest sounding bikes I've ever ridden or owned. Some people don't like it because it is a little bit too loud, but I really love the bike. It is just a lot of fun to ride. You can get on a bike that's a similar age and similar engine and it's just a very boring bike. This thing is like a sports bike. It is a lot of fun. This one is 1935. It's a Harley-Davison, probably one of my favourite bikes that I do own. The bike, I believe, was restored in close to 40 years ago, and it sat in a museum in America. And then I got it off somebody who brought it into the country. Unlike the other bikes, it is very dirty, very oily, very greasy, very dusty, but that's the look. This bike is a rider. This is not a bike to look at. This bike is a very capable bike. I have just finished 13 days riding it from Darwin down to Victor Harbour, where it did 4,400 kilometres without any breakdowns or needing to be fixed apart from just general maintenance. It is a difficult bike to ride. They are not like a normal bike. It does have a total loss oil system, foot clutch, hand change, timing on this side, throttle on the other, and it is a bit of a handful at times, but on the open road it really is a very comfortable bike. It's a very capable bike. It will sit on 55 to 60 miles and it will just cruise quite comfortably, closer towards that 55 mark, but it is a really nice bike. The motor is a 1200cc flathead. It's a 3-speed gearbox. The gear is changed by that lever here, and the clutch is engaged by that foot pedal down there. So unlike your modern day bikes with a hand clutch, this is all operated by the foot and your left hand to change gear. Harley have a pretty cool history when you date back and you look at how they did it, starting from a shed. They had a vision to make a bike, and all these years later, Harley is still going. I love this bike because, back when I was about 17, I was part of a classic enthusiast motorcycle club, and I was doing weekends away on my very first vintage bike when I was 17. That was a Honda 504, and I followed a guy who I'm still very good friends with now, and he had a red and black 1935 Harley, and I said one day I'm going to have one of those bikes. And I hunted and hunted and hunted until eventually I found a red and black 1935 Harley, and this is my baby. So this year, 2025, we've just finished the Southern Cross Cannonball Classic. It was an event for pre-1948 motorcycles to traverse from Darwin to Victor Harbour, all in aid of raising money for the Royal Flying Doctor Service, in which we did. A few things that you had to keep your head around was your fuel. There was a lot of spaces out there where we weren't getting fuel for 200 plus kilometres. So having a good knowledge of how the bike runs, how many litres per 100 it does use, knowing what you can get out of it was really crucial for quite a few days. I carried a couple of jerry cans, as did everybody, but I basically worked it out that I could get 150 kilometres from the big tank, 50 kilometres from the little tank, and I had 2 5-litre jerry cans, which means I was able to do the whole run without running out of fuel. Wow, what was it like? Phenomenal, life-changing, once in a lifetime. To see that many motorcycles pre-1948 was just absolutely phenomenal. It was like you were in heaven, like every day, top to bottom, every night you were just, you got to spend your whole day riding the bike that you love, and then spend the whole night drinking beers and talking about it with all the same people that like exactly the same thing. It was like one big event, one big social party. It was fantastic. Being in a group with like-minded people, it does, and I mean, you know, that goes for cars, bikes, trucks, anything that's old, anything where you're in a group with people that like the same stuff that you do. You've never met them. They've come from 5 days drive away, but instantly they're like your mate. And now, looking forward, I can't wait to do another one. Hopefully there is.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal, an E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannons understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Your story began in 1971. It's part of an endless tapestry that tells the story of our nation. It connects innovators to artisans, forests to houses, from the largest of operations to the smallest of outcomes. It's heritage. It's a legacy.
In 2025, why not consider a tour of Detroit, Michigan, USA with Fletch? Detroit, it's the Motown City, the automotive epicenter. Each day is wow, wow, and more wow. Imagine experiencing where automotive history on a grand scale began. Stay in fine accommodation, taking in some of the best museums and private car collections on the planet. Book your exclusive 2025 Detroit tour with Fletch. Enquiries at DetroitClassicTours.com.
This is a 1945 New Hudson autocycle. It's a 2-stroke Villiers. Probably not a real special bike, but it is special to me because my pop owned it, and when we were little kids we used to go around to Nan and Pop's house and this is what we used to ride. So that's the reason I've got it now. I still do ride it around the farm here and there, but it really is just a fun little push bike with a 50cc 2-stroke. Pop basically had this bike just because he bought something else, I believe it was a car, and he liked this and he said, will you sell me that? And the guy said, oh yeah. So like a deal was struck and Pop ended up with this little thing, and he basically just used it to ride around up and down to the shops and back, and that's about it. Even though it's a 1945, it's still kind of gone backwards to where they first started. Bikes back in the early 1900s were basically push bikes with engines and pedal start. For The company has evolved since then, but they still had a bit of a market for them, so they kept making them into 1945. It's just cool, it's quirky, it's fun, it's just something pretty cool to have. So back in the day, Pop lived around Riverwood. That's where he mostly used it, just up to the shops and back. I'm sure my nan was sending him up for milk or bread or something, and he thought, well, this was a bit of fun as opposed to a car. And at the end of his street, he had a big grass paddock kind of down there, and every weekend that we were up there, he'd usually let us take it down to the grass and have a bit of fun on it. So the bike is and hasn't been apart for many years, but a very long time ago, Pop needed to do a bit of work to the piston. He couldn't find one, couldn't buy one, so he ended up making something work by making one and using something from something else. I guess that's kind of a testament to the time where you couldn't just go to the shop and buy things, or people didn't have money just to buy things, so you had to make do with what you had. Classic example, Burt Munro, he made the world's fastest Indian in a shed. Back in those days, people were resourceful and smart with what they had, and they used their brain to make something, as opposed to these days you just get online and buy something. This was back when you didn't have money to throw away at hobbies. You had to make do with as little as you had, and that's what he did, and that's why it's special to me. All the memories of him letting us ride it, and it's still sitting here, and yeah. So you've seen a few of my bikes in the car that I am passionate about, and I hope you've enjoyed it.
Well, there you go. That's a wrap. We're out of time, and I hope you've enjoyed just some of the collection belonging to Mick, the sensational HZ Premier, and of course this outstanding bike collection. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch. Thanks for watching. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons. Sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club. Kenworth Trucks Australia and Pace Farm Eggs.